It is torture, and it is a waste of fucking time to stay in a relationship where you do not have the courage to ask plainly for what you want. That is a gigantic red flag over a car dealership waving in the wind that you are not feeling like yourself around this person because you cannot have a simple conversation about something. It's very clear that you know who you're serving and who you're talking to and the difference you want to make. The questions are very intentional, and it's very striking, the difference between the way that you prepare for your interviews versus the way a lot of people do.
I feel so. Thank you so much. That's really
You're
nice.
welcome.
I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
Thank you for saying that.
Good job accepting the compliment.
When Jay was on my podcast, he said something very similar. And it's so flattering. Like, it's so important for me to be able to provide good questions.
Yeah.
So my listeners can get as much as possible. But also I get a lot from this as well.
I can see that. I can see that. I'm excited to talk to you. Smart cookie.
Thank you.
Why you're successful, because you put in the work.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm really flattered. You say, I don't know how to, it's really hard for me to take compliments.
You know what you say?
Okay.
Can I pass along advice that somebody gave me? This comes from Kara Swisher, who is the co-host of the Pivot podcast with Scott Galloway. Very, very, very popular news podcast. And she passed on this advice to me that when somebody gives her a compliment, the way she responds is she said, "Thank you, I agree." So when somebody says to you, so let's practice. You know, I was so impressed with your research and your preparation and your questions. And I am so excited to talk to you because you are at the top when it comes to the way that people prepare and care about their audience.
Thank you. I know.
No, say I agree. When you say I know, it sounds a little bit like, oh, yeah, I already know that.
Thank you. I agree.
Thank you. Yeah, you see what I mean? And if somebody's like, I love your outfit, thank you, I agree. I love it too. Do you see how it kind of, there's a little bit of humble confidence there?
Yeah.
And it's a way to practice allowing in what other people see.
Yes, I do agree with that. I do the thank you, I know, or thank you, I agree with men when they compliment me.
Oh, I love the I know. Ooh, that's good. That's good with men. I love that.
I think as women, we tend to, no matter how much we've achieved, we tend to undersell ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I mean, I come from public accounting. So I remember all the stuff that I've read, research, and how I'm supposed to show up. But sometimes we forget. And that's why we can be like, oh, no, I'm not that great. And you're supposed to do the opposite. You're supposed to say, right. Obviously, I prepared for this. Of course, it's going to be a great interview. I put in the work.
Yes. And now I'm hiring you.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, that's exactly. Okay, good. Here we go.
Let's get started. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. And welcome to a brand new Almost Adulting. I'm your Russian big sister, giving you that tough love you may not want to hear, but best believe you're going to need the Oleta. Hi, everyone. Today, I have an amazing guest to start off this year. I have Mel Robbins. She's iconic. She's a #1 New York Times best-selling author, well-renowned motivational speaker, host of the Mel Robbins Podcast, and creator of some of the most viral self-improvement frameworks on the internet. And she's also going on tour this year, which I will leave the link in the bio of today's episode. The tour starts in March, so you should check out if she's coming to a town near you. Welcome.
You're the coolest.
I agree.
Yes. Thank you for accepting that a compliment, because you are.
That's really nice. I can't handle it.
It's not even nice. I'm telling you the truth.
This is so funny because the way we're going to be starting off today's episode is actually, this is the new year, and a lot of us, including myself, have had somewhat of a tough year at the end of the year. So the way we're starting, it's with just finding your way back to yourself. So that's why you're giving me all these compliments. And the first question is actually about how I feel like I lost my spark towards the end of last year. And it felt that no matter what I was doing, I couldn't seem to find my way back to it. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that can relate to that. Last year felt like a lot. So do you have any advice on how you can find your way back to yourself, like find your way back home to yourself?
That is a fantastic question. And I'm glad we're starting here because, yes, you can find your way back to yourself. And actually, I have something that will help you do it. There is a yearly planning ritual that my husband and I have done for 22 years. And I just did a huge episode all about it. And you can go to melrobbins.com/bestyear and you can download a 20-page free workbook that is 6 questions that you should ask yourself any single time you feel lost, you feel like you don't know what your purpose is, you're not quite sure how to reinvent yourself, what to do next. I do this every single year around this time of year. Doesn't matter if it's the end of the year yet. Doesn't matter if you're listening to this and it's July. This is the coolest exercise because it's just 6 questions, completely proven, a ton of research and science around this. And I'm going to walk you through it right now real quick. Okay. And then if you want to go deeper, you can just go to melrobbins.com/bestyear and you can download this free workbook. Okay. So here are the questions. And what I love about this is most of us, when we feel lost, all we want to do is we're desperate to look ahead. We're desperate to see what's next. We're desperate to figure out what's happening. It is a mistake to try to just invent something new without first taking a minute and sitting with where you are and looking back over the last 12 months, which might sound horrible given that this past year was a dumpster fire for a lot of us. And we're like, no, I just want to hit that with the fire extinguisher and move on. But there is so much wisdom. There is so much happiness. There is so much life. There are so many clues in your own life experience that you will miss out on creating the next year and finding your true self if you just try to jump into the next thing. So here are the first 3 questions. And the way that you're going to answer these questions, and you can just listen or watch right now. You can come back and do this later. This is a really cool thing to do with friends of yours or with your family or with your partner if you're in a relationship. First 3 questions force you to look backwards. And the questions are, and get your phone out, get your calendar out, because you have forgotten what happened these last 12 months. We have this bias in our brains that have us remember the negative. There were so many incredible things that happened in the last 12 months, and you don't even remember it. So you pull out your camera roll, and the first question is, okay, what were the lows and what were the highs? And as you go through your camera roll, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Oh, whoa. I had so much fun when I saw that. Oh, wow. I spent time with I went on that hike. Oh, wow. And so as you're asking yourself, what are the highs? What are the lows? And you're going past the last 12 months, you will not believe what happened. And then you're going to ask yourself, what are the lessons that I learned this year? Okay. And these 3 questions, what are the highs? What are the lows? What are the lessons? It forces you to extract from the last 12 months of your life the experiences, the people, the places, the things that really either lifted you up or brought you down. It forces you to stop and think and go, oh, wow, some of the lessons are I worked way too much. No wonder I didn't feel great because I never saw my friends. Or maybe the lessons were, wow, I was putting in a lot of effort, trying to look a certain way, and I was really not that happy this year. Or maybe you see, wow, all my highs were me hiking outside. Okay, well, all my highs were if you go to your camera roll right now and you type in photos 2025 and you just scroll all the way back, I want you to just humor me. You don't have to show anybody anything, but I want you to just call out a few things that you forgot happened.
I would say one of them being celebrating my birthday with my friends when I was going through a breakup.
Okay.
That was really fun. Moments with my parents, sometimes I've taken pictures of them when we're playing cards because they just laugh with each other. And I think it's the sweetest thing ever. Oh my gosh, the beginning of the year, I was thinking how there's no good people left in the world or whatever. I forget what I was thinking about. And I wanted to reward myself with a burger after I finished writing a chapter for my book. And as I was driving, I thought to myself, what if someone needed my help, but like I wouldn't be able to stop because it's in the middle of the night. That sucks. And then as I was driving to enter the freeway, there was a guy waving down. And first I was too scared to stop. And then when I got into the freeway, I saw his car was on fire. And I pulled over and I stopped and I helped him. And because his car blew up in front of us.
Oh my
and
God.
ended up helping him. I stayed with him for an hour and a half. And that was one of the coolest things ever, that I was able to get a cue or something, like, because I was thinking about it before I saw him. And that was really cool. So that was probably one of the coolest things that happened to me last year. Oh, and my house didn't burn down. I thought it was going to in the LA fires, and it didn't.
Well, so let me reflect back something to you. You started off the question really low. This year was terrible. And then as you started to reflect back, and that's just from memory, you immediately started to lift up. And so let me also reflect back a lesson. There is something about helping other people that brings out the light in you. And that's a lesson from this year. And that happened randomly. But what if that happened randomly? And a thing you could learn is once a month in the coming year, I have to just force myself to volunteer. Whether I am delivering meals for hospice or I'm going down to the local elementary school and helping with a cleanup project, or I am doing something at the church or the synagogue or the mosque that I never have time, like whatever it may be. Wow, I really come alive. Oh, wow. Another lesson is the way my parents look at each other when they're playing cards is a data point for me around the kind of relationship I want and the way I want to feel around somebody. And I need to keep that front and center. And so as you go through this exercise, you look backwards. Here's what's super cool. By answering what were the highs, what were the lows, and what were all the lessons I learned, what you realize is, okay, now I know where I'm starting from. And the interesting thing about finding yourself and finding your purpose and finding your next thing is that it is mathematically impossible. You were in public accounting. It's mathematically impossible to give somebody directions without having two pieces of data. Where are you? And where do you want to go?
Facts. That's true. Yes.
One of the biggest shifts that happens when you really, really step into who you are is confidence. Not loud confidence, not fake confidence, just that grounded feeling of knowing yourself. And honestly, when your hair feels healthy and strong, that is one less thing pulling at your energy. That is why Nutrafol makes sense to me. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, and it is the #1 hair growth supplement brand personally used by dermatologists. It is also not one size fits all. Nutrafol offers multiple formulas for different life stages and lifestyle factors, so then you can find what is actually right for you. And it's easy to stay consistent. There's no prescription needed. There are automated deliveries, it's free shipping, and subscription savings to get you on track. I've been using it, I think for over a year now since I've been talking about Nutrafol. And I'm telling you, after 6 months, I started noticing a change in my own hair. You will see visibly thicker, stronger, faster growing hair in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. And for a limited time right now, Nutrafol is offering my listeners $10 off of your first month subscription and free shipping when you visit Nutrafol.com and enter my promo code ADULTING. That is Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, using my promo code ADULTING.
Because if you think about it, I could be driving to your house and I could have your address, but I could get lost. And if I called you and I said, okay, I'm on my way, but I think I'm lost, what's the first thing you would say?
Where are you?
Correct. And so I can't tell you how to get back to yourself until I know where you are right now. And most of us are so detached from where we are and from our own life experience that we don't even know where we are right now. And so this exercise, highs, lows, and what are the lessons, establish where you are. Now, here's how we tell you to pick a direction. You ready? It's so simple. And you'll love this because this is a very classic business strategy planning tool that publicly traded companies use, that big executive teams use. You use this in your personal life. You ready? This is so dead simple. What are you going to stop doing this year? What are you going to start doing this year? And what are you going to continue doing? And the way you answer those questions is based on the highs, the lows, and the lessons. Because the things that made you feel good, you need to continue doing, right? The things that made you really low, you need to stop doing. And the things that you didn't get to, or that you feel called to, or that you keep making excuses around, are the things you need to start doing. That's how you find your way back to yourself.
I like that.
And you do that with your photos. You do that with a calendar. If you're somebody that, is all over social media, you can look back through your stories. You will be blown away at how much you forgot. Blown away. And you will also be blown away by the fact that your own life holds the clues and the answers. And this is a way to extract them.
That's a really great analogy as well, especially for people that are more analytical thinking, which I'm like that.
Yeah.
So the fact that you gave me kind of a map and the comparison, now it suddenly logically makes sense. I'm not just sitting in a fantasy of blah, blah. You're like, okay, where are you right now? Where do you want to go? And that makes sense. I don't know where I'm going to go if I don't know where I am right now.
Correct. And here's the other thing I can tell you is that if you follow this planning tool, it gives you a shocking amount of clarity. And it also forces you to slow down long enough that the things that you've been too busy to prioritize naturally bubble up to the surface. And the other piece is if you just start following the stop, start, continue, and you wake up every day and you feel a little bit better, then you're going to do better. And then you're going to gain more clarity. And simply starting to feel a small sense like you feel like yourself again, that will bring even greater clarity about the bigger goals.
A lot of times we don't see the big vision because every day it's like a little till it's a lot.
Yes.
Okay. So you talk a lot about high functioning anxiety. And what would you say, what does anxiety actually look like in someone who thinks they're just high achieving, but they're actually running on chronic stress?
That's a great question. So here's what it looks like. You. Everybody is running on chronic stress right now. So if you wake up and if your day feels a little bit like this, okay, you wake up and then you're like, oh my gosh. And then you pick up your phone and then you're scrolling on your phone and then you're laying there and they're like, I should get up. Oh my God, I hate that person. Oh, I love that outfit. I should be doing this. I don't want to go to work. And then you get up and you're like, I don't have enough time. And then you race to work and you didn't have breakfast. And then you're sitting at work and you're emails, zoom, text. And then you are racing home and you barely have time to eat. And oh my gosh, I didn't forget I forgot to do that person. And then you sit on the couch and then you scroll again for 6 hours and then you lay in bed and you think about that's high functioning.
Yes.
Anxiety or chronic stress. Because your entire life is driven by fear. It's response to everything. You're not in the moment. You're not really thinking strategically. And it is safe to assume, based on what the medical experts say, that 83% of people, at least in the United States, are in a medical state of chronic stress. This comes from Dr. Aditi Nerurkar, who was one of the 57 experts that I interviewed and who contributed to the Let Them Theory book. She's at Harvard Medical School. Her specialty is stress as a medical condition. Because when you and I say, oh, I'm so stressed, that's not what stress actually is. Stress is when your nervous system goes on edge and your brain switches functioning from your prefrontal cortex, so right behind your forehead, to the amygdala, which is the little almond-shaped thing in the back of your head. And when your amygdala is running the show, you know it because there's actual symptoms. The symptoms are your self-criticism is louder than ever. It's hard to sleep. You procrastinate more. You have trouble focusing. And the reason why that's true is because if you're kind of on a constant low-grade edge, and how could you not be in today's world? With AI, with the headlines, with the cost of living, with the bombardment of information from social media, it flips on this sense that you're behind and that bad things are coming. And makes you feel like everything is the highest stakes. If you don't get all this work done, you're going to get fired. If you don't get, like, somebody's going to be, but like that constant loop that you can get into. And so there's two things, one that she recommends, and the second one I'm going to recommend. So if this feels like, oh my God, that's me. Like, why can't I turn it off? Here's what Dr. Aditi Nerurkar says you have to do. Your stress response does not reset on its own. My personal opinion is that coming out of the pandemic, none of us realize that we were in a state of chronic uncertainty and stress for 2 or 3 years. And nobody's ever really, truly, other than if you took a vacation and probably on the vacation, all you did was party and not get a lot of sleep. And so you came back exhausted and tan, but you didn't actually take the time to flip the lever down. And so her reset is very simple. First, you got to notice, oh, it's not me. I'm in a state of stress. Like, I'm on edge. And how could I not be? You know, if you ask me, being stressed right now and feeling on edge is a mentally healthy response to a very overwhelming moment in life. And so acknowledge, wow, my heart's always racing. Wow, I always feel like I'm about to get in trouble. Wow, I'm always just constantly beating myself. What is that about?
Or, wow, I'm gaining weight because your testosterone levels go up when you're really stressed.
Yes. And so just go, oh, my poor little body, my poor brain. It's just doing its best. It's trying to, like, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. And so it's putting me in a state of hyper alert, but I can notice it and go, oh, okay. And literally things like just taking a deep breath. And she recommends a breath that is that box breathing and it's one that I can remember. So you breathe in 4, hold it for 4, and then breathe out. And you can even go longer on the exhale, because if you go longer on the exhale, you're signaling to your body and your brain that you're okay. The other thing that you can do is you can put your hand on your heart. You can do this breathing. We'll do it again. 4, 4, 4. Here we go. Hold for 4. Exhale. And then just quietly say to yourself, I'm safe. I'm loved. I'm going to be okay. Or you could say, I can handle this. That's it. That's it. You're signaling to your body that it's okay to downshift. That if you don't get through every email today, you're not going to get fired. And even if you do, you can handle it. That if you realize you didn't get back to that friend, it's okay. You can get back to them tomorrow. I constantly say to the people that work for me and to myself, other people's emergencies and expectations are not your priority. And because of texting and email and Slack and the way people can get a hold of you, it's very easy to send somebody an email and pressure them. Very easy to send somebody a text and expect them to return. But that doesn't mean it has to be your big priority right now. And so you've got to protect your access and protect your levels of stress. And so those are just 2 things that you can do. But here's how I think about anxiety, because I wish I knew this years ago, because I struggled with anxiety for decades. I also all 3 of our who are now adult kids, they're 26, 25, and 20, have had bouts and periods of pretty severe anxiety. And I screwed it up as a parent. Like, I literally did not know how to deal with it. I probably made the situation worse, because when one of my kids would get anxious about a sleepover, or anxious about a test, or anxious about a performance, or anxious about what's going on with the friends, I would want to remove the anxiety and I would want to save them from the situation. And what happens when you do that, all the medical experts say this, that the worst thing to do when you're feeling nervous or anxious about something is to avoid the thing you're nervous about. Because when you avoid the interview, or you avoid the date, or you avoid the conversation, or you avoid a applying for the job, or you avoid reaching out to that friend, the avoiding of it, that action of avoidance tells your brain and your body that you're not capable of handling this. And that makes the anxiety worse. And so in moments of anxiety, here's what's actually happening. You ready? This blew my mind when I started to figure this out. There's a doctor by the name of Dr. Russell Kennedy. He goes by the Anxiety MD online. He's a neuroscientist, a medical doctor who specializes in anxiety. He says anxiety is just an alarm in your body. That's it. Anxiety is just this moment where it's like, you feel this like wave come over you. And it's an alarm in your body going, hey, pay attention. Pay attention. There's an interview coming. Pay attention. You got to give a speech. Pay attention. You want to concentrate for this conversation. Pay attention. You're about to do something you've never done before. And anxiety takes over in a moment of uncertainty. That's it. So give me an example of something that that could make you anxious or make you nervous.
One thing that makes me really anxious is my sense of time. I lack it. Okay. So I tend to be late to places. And no matter how much I try to get through my schedule, I'm like, okay, I need to wake up at this time. So then that means I should start getting ready at this time. And then I try to work backwards. And then I'll still somehow end up dozing off and staring at the wall for 30 minutes. And then I'm in my car and I'm anxious about the fact that I'm going to be late and they're going to be so mad at me. And I effed everything up. Why am I such a failure? And then you start going on that negative loop.
Yes. Okay. So that's an excellent example and super relatable. Okay. In that moment, as you're driving, right, what's happening is you're walking into a situation and you don't know how it's going to go. You're uncertain. And in those moments where you start to feel anxious because you're uncertain, you don't know if they're going to be upset. You don't know if they're going to be okay with it. What happens is Dr. Russell Kennedy says all anxiety is separation anxiety. And what do you think you're separated from?
What's actually happening? Like their thoughts?
You're separated from your own power.
Oh.
So as you're driving your car and you're feeling uncertain, because the truth is you don't know how it's going to go. It's true. But you make the mistake of going up into your head and you separate from your power, which is here in your heart and your soul and your body. And you go up in your head and you start doing what I used to do. Well, what if this? What if that? What if they do the other thing? And now your thoughts are making it worse. And so what you want to do next time when you feel anxious, you're running late, you have no idea what's going to happen, you're terrified that you just blew it. And as you're like, what if I blew it? What if they hate me? What if this? You're going to take a deep breath. And then you're going to drop into your body and you're just going to say, no matter what happens, I'm capable of figuring it out. No matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. And what you're doing when you drop back into your body and you coach yourself and remind yourself of the truth is you will be okay. The truth is you are capable. And what happens when you remind yourself of the truth and you rejoin back with your power is the anxiety starts to dissipate. And now you're reminding yourself, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know I'm going to be okay. I don't know what's going to happen or if they're going to be pissed, but I know I'm capable of figuring it out, even if they don't want to do business with me.
Right. I like that. So you're basically saying I don't have control over anything around me, including whether those people are going to be mad at me or not. I don't even know what they're actually thinking. I can only assume, but I do have a control over myself and my body.
Yes.
So that's the one thing I can take care of, which is why it's like, I will be okay no matter what.
Correct.
I like that.
Exactly. And I'm going to give you another thing to say. If you're somebody that runs late, is when you walk in, do not say, I'm sorry, I'm late, because that is you making yourself wrong. And that pulls all the attention to you. The first thing out of your mouth should be, thank you for your patience. It's been a really crazy day. Thank you. Because now what you've done is you have now put the spotlight on them and you have complimented them for giving you grace without bashing yourself by saying, I'm sorry. You know how if you've been in a meeting and somebody comes running in and they've got all their, oh, I'm so sorry, the traffic was terrible, blah, blah, blah. They just took a minute of everybody's time, made it all about themselves. They were already late. They're making themselves
their
wrong.
energy
Everyone's
is
like,
chaotic.
yes.
Now you're making me feel chaotic. Now I'm irritated that you're late. You're reminding me that you're late.
Correct.
Versus if you come in, you're say, thank you so much for
your patience.
Then I'm like, great, we can go back.
Yes.
And I feel thankful that you gave me, that you understood that I like that.
Now, do you want some advice about your time blindness?
I do take Adderall, so it helps.
Yes, that does help a lot.
Yes.
But the morning thing, is that where your day goes off the rails? That you actually do not get started early enough? I'm
very detail oriented. So sometimes I don't know how much time to devote to each thing. So then even the smallest thing, I'll be like, well, I want it to be perfect. And then I'll get so focused on it that it's really hard for me to then stop when I need to stop and then move on to the next thing. That's my biggest issue.
Is it typically in the morning?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the secret about changing the way your mornings go.
Okay.
Your mornings begin the night before.
Right.
And the mistake that everybody makes is you set your alarm for the same time every morning and you don't do the analytical part the night before.
That's why I came early today, because last night I wrote out, I was so excited for this interview. I wanted to make sure not to be late. Yes. I wrote everything out. So actually before our 10 a.m. interview, I recorded another podcast and I recorded some content, CGC for a client. Then I got ready. Then I came here and I was still 15 minutes early.
Fantastic. So here's what I want to double down on. You're capable of doing this when it matters to you.
Ooh.
And so
don't tell my sister that.
But the thing that you have to be careful about is when it matters to you, you manage your time. What you have to be careful about is that there's lots of instances where it doesn't quite matter to you. And if you are somebody who is chronically running late and you blame it on
just, no sense of time.
It's actually not true. And so being somebody that runs chronically late when you are capable of it, you have to have a wake-up call with yourself and say, is this something that matters to me? This used to be me. I have profound ADHD. I run a very big company. I have a million things going on. And when it matters to me, I can organize myself to be there on time. And what I had to reconcile with myself, because I was kind of caught in this thing, I'm always running late. No, I'm actually intentionally late because I'm taking time doing something that's more important than being on time. And I'm saying this because we are always creating our reputation based on our actions and our energy. And if you want to have a huge leap in your career or a huge leap in the circle of people you hang out with, or a huge leap in the amount of money that you make, I want you to start to get very intentional about building a reputation. And the way that you build a reputation in reverse is you ask yourself, what do I want people to say about me when I leave the room? And what people say about you when you leave the room, whether it's a party or a date or an interview. Yeah, you're charming. And if part of that was I'm impeccable, I am professional, I am like punctual, I can be counted on, and I'm charming, I do my homework, I am prepared. Like the words you pick matter because that then tells you how to behave. And so
I'm labeling myself.
Correct. And I also want you, if you don't care about being on time, own it. But don't bash yourself and saying, well, I get time blind. These details matter more to me. And I've been a dummy because I haven't been planning at night. I've been doing it on the fly. And I can take my analytical skills and I can spend 10 minutes at night and I can look at my day tomorrow and I can highlight the things that are the most important things. And then I can say, well, how much time do I really need? And if you're somebody like me, who tends to get distracted or has a bazillion things going on. I've gotten to the point where it's not even that I'm distracted. I have so much going on that I will inevitably get interrupted, that I have to 2x the amount of time I think it's going to take to allow for the reality of both my brain and the demands on my schedule on any given day.
I like what you're saying. And I also like the fact that you just force me, to relabel myself and also take accountability, because I am one of those people that just say, well, I have time blindness. It's just like one of my quirks.
You do,
but
and
you just gave me a fallacy in my argument because you presented new information, because you just called me out in a sense. You saying, well, you showed up today early because it was something that was important to you, which then means when I'm always late to hang out with my sister and it upsets her, and I just go, well, blah, blah, that actually means that my sister not as important to me as this interview. And that's not true. That's not the case.
yes.
So now seeing that and seeing the fallacy in my own argument, you're correct. I guess I don't just have time blindness. It's my quirkiness. I can, in fact, change it.
When you want to. And it's okay if you don't want to. Like, I think part of becoming a more confident and a more centered person
Is being honest with yourself.
yeah, and just really owning it. Like, I don't actually care about being on time to a social event or to see family.
I don't.
I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. And if it bothers them that much,
Then I should show up better.
well, then we'll have a conversation about it, because I certainly don't intend for my behavior to make somebody feel bad. And if that's what's happening, then let's have a conversation about that so I can clean up the unintended impact of being late, or my tone of voice, or the fact that I'm messy, or, these things that are not a priority for me, but might make somebody else feel like you don't respect them.
Yes. And if you care about that person, you always have to remember, if it's important for you, then it's important for me.
Correct.
You've spoken before about your 5-second rule. So what's the 5-second rule, and why does something so simple actually work?
So the 5-second rule is just like, it's a motivational hack that will give you the ability to take action when you would normally overthink it, or you'd just not feel like doing it. So the way it works is very simple. In a moment where you feel yourself hesitate, give me an example of something that you always procrastinate on.
Writing my book.
Okay. So we are sitting at your house, and maybe you've even put in your calendar a 30-minute writing block, and you're either on your phone or you're watching something awesome on TV, and it's time. The alarm's gone off, and you know what you need to do. But here's the mistake you make. You stop and think, well, I don't really feel like writing right now.
Or it's going to take so long, or I can do this later. Because I think, well, if I start, it's like, it takes me like 5 hours to write this. So then I should it doesn't feel right now. I'm not in the right headspace.
Yeah. Perfect. That's the exact scenario. And if you start thinking about something for more than 5 seconds, you won't do it.
Oh.
Yeah, because as you pause and hesitate, I don't feel like it, I'm not in the right headspace, I can do this later, you're drifting from being present to the subconscious part of your brain. And now all your habits and excuses and procrastination take over. It's true about everything in life. Everything. If you just did the things you don't feel like doing, you'd have everything you've ever wanted. Because you don't get the things that you want in life by thinking, you get them by doing. And so the 5-second rule is just like dropping food on the floor. You got 5 seconds to pick it up, or else the floor contaminates it. That's the folklore. This is true about your brain. If you think about something for more than 5 seconds, your brain will contaminate it, and you will no longer want to do it. Whether it's getting out of bed, or making the phone call, or paying the bill, or going to the gym, or posting the video, or writing the book, or speaking in the meeting. How many times have you been at work and you're like, okay, I have something to say, and they're like, oh, what are people going to say? And then all of a sudden, I'm not saying it. 5 seconds. Your whole life plays out in 5 seconds windows. There's a 5-second window between a moment of confidence and self-doubt creeping in. You know how quickly you talk yourself out of shit all day long? All day long you do. And so the way the rule works is when you feel yourself hesitate, or you feel the fear coming on, or you feel yourself sinking into the couch or going to scroll more, just go count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then move. Put the phone down, get off the couch, get your sneakers, go for the run, pick up the phone. And it's this little, the technical term is it's a starting ritual. It's something you do to initiate a new behavior. And so if you're trying to break a bad habit, let's say you love potato chips at 8:00 at night, and you're trying very hard not to just like eat or like do emotional eating or just eat because you're bored, but it like clockwork, 8:00 at night, you find yourself almost in a trance, walking to the kitchen. You're opening up the door. You're not even thinking as you're grabbing the entire bag, or you're sticking the spoon in the ice cream, or you're pouring yourself a glass of wine. And in that moment, you know you're not supposed to be doing it. You know you don't want to do it. So you just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you shut the cabinet and you walk away. And that's how you can use it as a tool all day long to help you get out of bed, to speak up at work, to open up your bank account and look at where all your money is going so you can be smarter about your money. It's how you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hit post, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, sit down and start writing. And here's the interesting thing about taking that first action. They've done a lot of research on this related to putting something off, whether you're putting off going to the gym, or you're putting off writing, or you're putting off working on a bigger project, or you're putting off like getting outside for a walk, that if you just do it for 1 minute, you just sit your rear end down and you start typing for 1 minute, 83% of the time you keep going, because you've gotten through that initial resistance. The hardest part about going to the gym is going to the gym. Once you get there, you're there. It's getting out of the house and to the gym that's the hard part. And that's where 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 comes in.
So what you're basically saying is that you're one decision away from changing your life.
You are, always. Always.
Remind me again what you mean by that.
Well, anybody that stops drinking knows you're one decision away from a different life. Anybody that's ever gotten help for an eating disorder knows you're one decision away from a different life. Anybody that's ever broken up with somebody that was a really good person, but just you knew deep down not your person, knows you're one decision away from a different life. Because what happens is a decision points your life in a different direction. Now, the results are what come over time as you keep making 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 decisions that move you in the new direction. But your life changes with one decision. I'm not drinking anymore. There's a decision that changes your life. I'm not living here anymore. There's a decision that changes your life. I'm not going to use time blindness as an excuse anymore. There's a decision that changes your life.
Or I'm going to be honest with myself that I don't care to be on time places.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. But I can be more, and I can also be more aware that it may feel disrespectful to people like your sister. And so I can talk to her about that. And I can thank her for like really loving me and letting me be who I am in spite of it all. And, tell her how much I love her. And I'm sorry that you have to add the, 30-minute rule for me because I'm going to run about 30 minutes late.
Gift her your book and say, read this. Just let them. You need to apply that to me and just let me be late.
Yes. Yeah. I've always been late. You're my sister. This is who I am.
Yeah. Gaslight her into thinking you're actually upsetting me right now.
Yeah. There you go.
Kidding. No. You just spoke about something that I feel like so many people don't talk enough about, which is how sometimes you can be dating someone amazing and so great, and you still can know that they're not your person. So why does it hurt so much? And then how do you walk away when there's technically nothing wrong?
Well, there is something wrong.
Right.
Like that's a lie we say to ourselves, that there's really nothing wrong with the relationship. There's just something that's not working. You're amazing. I love you, but I just don't know that there is something wrong.
Oh.
And what's wrong is that deep down, you know that this isn't the long-term relationship for you. That's what's wrong with it. And we don't tell the truth because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. And why does it feel so bad to break up with somebody that you love? Because you love them. And because you wanted it to work. And this is something that I don't think we give ourselves enough space to feel. When you break up with somebody that you love, who's a really good person, but you just know deep down that you don't have the same values, or the research is very clear on the things that will, over the long run, create resentment and break you up. And those are if you are not aligned on values, and if staying with this person requires you to give up on a dream. Like staying with this person means you can't move back home to the East Coast because your dream had always been to raise a family around your family. Or being with this person who's like, well, I don't know if I want kids. If you're very clear you want kids, this is not your person. Because you do not want to be in a relationship with somebody who's not sure about the core thing that you want for your life. You have to be in a relationship with the person and not the potential that you have in your head. And so there is something wrong if you're with a good person and you know deep down there's not an alignment in values and there's not an alignment in terms of the way I dream about my life being. And it hurts because you love the person, and it hurts because you wanted it to work out.
Right. You want it to be them.
Yes. Yes. And that's why even when you break up with them, you feel so devastated.
Well, I think a lot of times it sometimes feels more sad or feels harder to break up with someone on good terms versus because it's so much, if I hate you, then I can just tell a story in my head to myself and it's easier for me to hate you, because every day I wake up and have rage and the rage helps me get through the day and restart my life. But, if I still have love for you, then it's like, why are we not together? Oh, right, because you're not right for me.
Yes, and that's okay. And it's really hard. And here's what might help you make the decision sooner. It doesn't make it easy, by the way. This shouldn't be easy because you love somebody. And the fact that it's hard is, I believe, a tribute to how much you cared about this person. And so having the conversation, there's no easy way to have the conversation because you wanted it to work and so did they. And so you are going to grieve deeply because you're grieving the potential of what could have been. But you are being clear about the reality of what it is. And the mistake that I think a lot of people make is not understanding what actually matters in a relationship. Because people are going to, if you want to be with somebody and you want to go the distance and you want to build a beautiful life together. I've been married for 29 years. There are going to be great years and shitty ones. They are going to get in great shape. They are going to gain weight. They are going to have wonderful years where they're confident and amazing and happy. They're going to have years where they're depressed and struggling. They'll have years where they have a lot of money and they'll have years when they have none. And so all of the things everybody's chasing, the Instagram proposal, how we look on paper, are you the end of the aisle? The things that we're measuring, I believe we add too much weight on the stuff on the outside, how people look, like what it feels like, all that says it lining up on paper when really a beautiful relationship are two people who usually are kind of different, who come together and who can grow together. And everybody can learn skills. People can learn how to take better care of themselves. They can learn how to cook. They can learn how to be a little bit more helpful around the house. They can learn parenting skills. What's very hard to teach is loyalty. What's very hard to teach is kindness. What's very hard to teach is just that sense of safety. Like, you want your person when you come home from the end of the day, because life is hard. You want to walk in that door and your shoulders drop. And even if they have a beer belly or, they're having trouble losing the pregnancy, you just want, that's my person. That's the person that I can be myself with. That's the person who I can be who I am and who I'm not. And if you have loyalty, kindness, safety, you can laugh with them. If they support you in you going after what you want, you have a winner. You have 80% of the things that you can't teach somebody. And those are the things that matter over the long haul. And I also think it's a myth to believe that you should do everything together. There are lots of things that my husband does that I have no interest in doing, golf being top of the list. He loves golfing. I don't want to golf. Like, he also loves skiing. I like to ski. I love to ski, but on a very warm day when the sun is out. And he will ski in the sleet, in the ice. I mean, we live in Vermont. I mean, that man is out there no matter. I'm like, no, thank you. But he supports me, and I support him in doing the things that we like to do. And so I feel like you got to really think hard about, what do you value? And what are the things that they're non-negotiable? You want kids. You want to travel. You want to be with somebody that will go on adventures with you. You want somebody that is ambitious. Like, these are things that matter to you.
I completely agree that that's way more important than caring about looks and things like that. I mean, my mom is taller than my dad, and they still have a happy marriage, and they're still together. So I definitely don't think
the amount of discrimination against short men and women is ridiculous.
Yeah. My mom says when men lack in height, they make up in other places, which is a disgusting thing for me to know, obviously. But yeah.
Well, I don't know that she means that.
She did, because she winked at me when she said it. So she definitely meant that. So, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's amazing.
When I started this podcast, it felt like I had to always figure things on my own, like scripts, recording setup, filming schedules, logos, and like every day there was some new decision to make and some to-do lists. It just kept getting longer. If you ever tried to start a business, you know that feeling. You want one place that makes the work easier and keeps you moving. That is why Shopify exists. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from big household names to brands just getting started. You can build a beautiful online store with ready-to-use templates. You can get help writing product descriptions and page headlines and even improve product photos. You can also run email and social campaigns to reach customers where they already spend time. You can also handle inventory, payments, analytics, shipping, and returns in just one place. And if you get stuck, Shopify has their award-winning 24/7 customer support. So it is time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. So sign up for your $1 per month. Yeah, you heard me right. $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/adulting. So go to shopify.com/adulting. That is shopify.com/adulting.
Okay, so for women who attach too quickly or fall in love with potential, which is so many women out there, what's the first mindset shift they need to stop repeating the same dating pattern over and over again?
You're not secure in yourself. It's not about the dating. No. Dating is a distraction. Yes. You cannot sit with uncomfortable emotions. And when you are in a new relationship, when somebody's pursuing you, when you're pursuing them, it is the most intoxicating drug in the world. And it relieves you of the pain of daily life, because now you have this big thing that you're focused on, and you're checking their location 15 times a day, and you're, searching them in the background, and you're looking at their social media, and you're wondering what we're going to do this weekend, and you're thinking, and you're so occupied by it that you're no longer having to just be present in your day-to-day life. And so the only way to break this is to start to notice your own patterns of attaching to people, whether it's friends or, here's a good one, your mom. Yeah, your mom or your friends or somebody that you date. If every time you're bored, you text your mom, that's a sign that you have attachment problems. If every time that you're upset, before you even take a beat and remind yourself, okay, I'm going to be okay, I'm going to be okay, and you call your mom to vent, and then as soon as you're done venting, you're better, so now you're going to hang up and go off with your life, that's a sign of attachment issues. Because you use other people as a way to either avoid emotions like boredom or stress or anger, or you use other people as a way to vent emotions you don't know how to process yourself.
So in dating, you end up accidentally using the partner or the idea of the partner in the relationship to escape from the boredom.
Correct. And you also use it to make yourself feel okay. Because, when you meet somebody new, it's both thrilling and there's so much anxiety because you don't know what's going to happen.
The anxiety is intoxicating.
Yes. And so you can come back and use this tool. Okay, no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay.
If they leave me, let them.
Yes. And you have to be very careful in this stage because there's also really interesting research that we write about in the Let Them Theory book about that if you're the kind of person that keeps getting into a cycle of dating the wrong kind of person, you're always the girlfriend before the wife. You're always with somebody who you're having to chase and you feel uncertain and you feel insecure because you don't know where you stand. The thing about these patterns is that they will repeat until you figure out the underlying issue. Because it's not about the person, it's about this pattern in your life.
Yeah, because you're really dating the same person in different bodies.
Yes. Okay. And so here's what I want you to really think about. In the beginning, it's fantastic. Oh my God, have so much fun, date a ton of people, distract the hell out of yourself, and just learn about yourself. Learn what you like, learn what you don't like, short, tall, like whatever, this kind of date, that kind of date, this kind of energy, that kind of energy. Ooh, I don't like that. Ooh, I like this. Notice who and when you feel more grounded in yourself versus that super nervous energy where it's tempting to be somebody you're not because you want confirmation that they like you. Okay. So that's one thing to look out for. But there's going to come a time where you're dating around, and this is so fun, where you're going to notice, I really like this person. And you are going to want to take it to the next level, which could mean I'd like to be exclusive. It could mean the next level that I want to put a label on this. It could mean that you want to move in together. But you will be certain when that happens. Because all of a sudden, you're going to start to feel insecure. Are they still on Hinge? Are they still with other people? Like, what's going on? I don't know. And instead of hinting, I want you to use the Let Them Theory. Because you have to, in these moments, not play the game. You have to play it smart. And it is always the smartest thing to do to simply speak in plain English or whatever language you speak, very plainly about what you want. And then let them. And here's an example. Let's say you want to be exclusive and you don't know how to bring it up because you actually like this person and the reason why it's nerve-wracking is you want them to want to be exclusive too. But we don't know what this person actually wants because you haven't had the conversation yet. But you know this is what you want. And there's nothing more painful and a worse form of self-torture than knowing you want something and actively arguing against yourself for asking for it. It is torture and it is a waste of fucking time to stay in a relationship where you do not have the courage to ask plainly for what you want. That is a gigantic red flag over a car dealership waving in the wind that you are not feeling like yourself around this person because you cannot have a simple conversation about something. Here's how you're going to have the conversation. You go out on a date and you say, hey, this has been fantastic. I love hanging out with you. I have had so much fun. I've loved doing this. I think the sex is great. And here's the deal. I know myself. And I know when I really like somebody, I want to pour my time and energy into it. And I really value my time and energy. And I understand that you may not be where I'm at, but I'm at a point where I only want to continue to see you if we're on the same page and you want to be exclusive. And if you don't want to be exclusive, no problem. I've really loved hanging out with you, but I'm not going to put my time and energy into a casual relationship with you. And then let them say what they're going to say. Because what you're saying is, I know what I want and I respect my time and energy and I'm not wasting it with somebody who doesn't want the same thing. And I've gotten to the point where I'm ready to be exclusive. I want to invest more time and energy and I want to be with somebody who does. And I would love it if you felt that way. And if you don't, that's totally cool. None of this, you led me on and we've had sex and we talked down about it and like psycho bitch stuff. No, you were a consenting adult in this. And now it's time for you to let them know, let them respond, however they're going to respond, and then let me see their response as the actual truth. See, people are not confusing. People are very black and white.
I agree.
If you watch what they're doing and you watch and listen to the words that come out of their mouth, but watch what they do.
Watch their actions, yes.
Very black and white. People tell you through their behavior whether you're a priority. If you're wondering if you're a priority, you're not. If you're wondering how they feel about you and you have not had this conversation because you are ready to go to the next level and you're looking for the hints, then you're probably in the wrong relationship. And we confuse ourselves because we try to explain away what people's behavior tells us. Like, if you're sleeping with somebody and they sneak out every morning before your roommates wake up, they don't like you. They like having sex with you.
Or you remember words that they told you in the beginning before they slept with you to get you into bed. So what you're basically saying is how they treat you is how they feel about you.
Correct. And you need to learn to let people treat you how they treat you. And here's a very big distinction. If somebody's treating you with disrespect, when you say let them, you're not allowing it. You are forcing yourself to recognize the situation. Because when you say let them, if somebody won't put a label on it, let them tell you they won't put a label on it.
But don't stay around, because I think maybe someone can get mixed up and it's like, okay, I'm going to let everyone let them.
And I am more with his friends and I take up that hobby and I dress a little bit differently. Maybe, in a month, they're not changing. They're not. People only change when they're ready to change for themselves.
Exactly, but not for you.
Correct. And so let people show you who they are and let me recognize the situation I'm in, very black and white. And then let me decide, is this attractive? Is this worth my time? Is this what I deserve? And if it's not attractive or worth your time or what you deserve, don't put time and energy into it.
So then for women with anxious attachment style.
Okay. Which means what?
Where they're overly dependent on relaxing their anxiety or.
I would imagine you have anxious attachment style if you constantly check the location of your friends and your
I have
person.
avoidant attachment style.
Which means what?
Which means that I find peace at being alone. And I feel suffocated if you are taking away what feels like my freedom.
Yes.
So even what you were discussing.
My daughter's like, me too.
Yeah. So for women with anxious attachment style or people-pleasing tendencies, for them, they may mix up your let them theory, where it can start to feel more like abandonment than empowerment. So how are they able then to let someone go without feeling like they're losing?
So give me an example.
The guy, sneaking out before the roommates, he only wants to hang out at night. He's not doing date night. And like the girl loves a guy that maybe her love language is gifts, but he's never buying her gifts. And she's like, well, that's okay. I've been reading Let Them. And she says to just like, it's me. Maybe I'm reading this wrong because English is not my first language. So I think it's not for me. It's my third. So, I'm just trying to let him be his thing because he'll find his way back to me and eventually he'll change because he says he wants to change, but his actions are not showing me. But maybe I'm just too anxious. So I'm just going to let him show me that he's a shitty boyfriend and I'm just letting him. So I'll just stick around. Now I'm abandoning myself because I'm staying in the relationship.
Okay, so here's the second part of the theory. Let me. So let him show me that he, despite knowing that my love language is gifts, despite knowing how important a date night is, despite knowing that it would mean a lot to me if you just would check in the middle of the day and just say hi with a quick text because it makes me know, despite knowing that it matters to me that you show up in certain ways, despite knowing all of this, you are choosing not to.
That's even more sad.
Correct. And so, and they might be doing it not out of spite, but they might be doing it because they can't. They don't know how. This is not a skill they have. And so you have to, in those moments where you've had the conversation, where you have explained what you need, you have to let them do it or not. Because you will never change your relationship by trying to change them. You change your relationship by changing yourself. So you come to the second part now, because when you say let them, you're recognizing the situation. I've had these conversations, and either because this guy's time blind, or he's clueless, or he was raised by an overbearing mother who did everything, and so he has no actual skills or the ability to act like a man, and I feel like his mother, not his partner. Like, let him.
I showed him what I need, yes, how to be loved, and now he's showing me, yes, how he's loving me.
Yes, and you get to now choose. This is the let me part. Let me be honest with myself. Is this enough? And let me be honest with myself. If he never changes, is the 80% that I have good enough? Is the 50% I'm getting good enough? If he never changes, because that's what you have to presume, that this is going to be how it is. And I'm also assuming in the scenario that you've had rational, calm conversations about what you need. Because we do tend to get into a relationship with somebody whose default style is exactly what you need in order to heal yours. The anxious people tend to chase people that avoid. Avoidant people tend to have somebody crawling after them. And using tools like, I got to recognize who this person is. I got to, take responsibility for asking for what I need in a very kind and calm way. Because in life and in relationships, you can either be right or you can be connected. That's it. And if you're in a relationship where you're right about how they need to change and they need to do this and I'm the one, you'll never be connected and you're in the wrong relationship. And if you're in a relationship where you're actually dating the potential, but not the person, you're in the wrong relationship because you're not in reality. And the thing I can't tell you is whether or not what you have is enough. That's the let me part. Here's how you know if it's not enough. If you're still pissed about it. If you're going to hold this over the person's head, this will be the thing that ultimately destroys the relationship or makes somebody cheat or has the toxic behavior happen.
Yeah, I understand. In my 20s, I dated someone and he cheated on me. Well, eventually I found out he cheated on me with a lot of people. But at first when I thought it was just one person and I wanted to still stay with him because I loved him and I didn't love myself enough. But eventually I was still really bitter about it. And the whole point is it sucks. But if you're going to stay with the cheater, then you're supposed to forgive them and you're supposed to act normal. But it wasn't normal. You go to the bathroom and I'm thinking, did he take his phone with him? What is he doing in the bathroom? And I was just, abandoning myself. So after that, in my 30s, I always told myself, and that's why I'm able to walk away no matter how great a relationship is, where I rather abandon you than abandon myself ever again.
Beautiful. And you're in that situation if you don't actually feel safe. And by safe, I don't mean you're being abused. I mean, you don't feel that you can be present with this person and you're constantly questioning, you are not in the right relationship. And it's not fair to you and it's not fair to them.
Exactly. I agree. Okay. I have one last question. Just
Sure.
one last one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love this question. Okay. So you've said that women with big dreams and big energy often attract partners who shrink in comparison. And I feel that a lot of women have that issue, including myself. So why do you think that dynamic is so common?
I think it's very common because it is next to impossible to have a very successful relationship where you have two people in the relationship that have massive ambition. In order to have a relationship that truly is one that you're going to feel supported, and both of you are, there has to be a balance between the huge ambition out in the world and the foundation and ground that you can put your feet on. I would not be as successful as I am if my husband, Christopher, had not stayed home with the kids and played the role of primary parent when my career started to take off 10 years ago. One of my values is family. One of my values is peace and safety and fun. And if we are both out in the world trying to build big businesses or build media things or do this thing, eventually we are going to both attack each other because two people that have outside ambitions can't be focused on building a foundation at home.
So what you're saying, you're the flower and he's the roots. And if you have two flowers, then you'll be fighting over the sun and over the seeds in the water.
Yeah. And for women, I'm going to speak for myself because I'm 57 and I grew up with all of the messaging that your husband makes the money and you do everything else. And if you have a career, it's extra money. So his money is our money. My money's my money to do fun things with. And when his restaurant started to go under and we found ourselves $800,000 in debt, and then ultimately he left the business, it was on me to figure out how to claw our way out of debt. Like if we were going to save the house and we were going to pay our bills, he wasn't going to do it. It was up to me. And there was a period of time where I was really resentful over it. Because I call this breadwinner resentment rage, where you are so angry because you thought somebody was going to come and take care of you. You were angry because you think they're responsible for paying for the purse or the car or the mortgage. No, you're responsible for your life. If you want a nice handbag, go make money and buy it. Don't get pissed at your partner. And what I realized is, in looking back, we had always been in the wrong roles. See, my husband would live in a tent if he could. He loves to camp. He's a death doula. He runs a men's retreat called Soul Degree. He's a spiritual psychologist. This man cares zero about money. He does not measure. He is not inspired by making money. He's not inspired by a nice car. He's not inspired by that status bullshit. I am not really inspired by it either, but I love building things and I love figuring things out and I love creating stuff from nothing. And I love winning. And it's not about the status. It's about the game. That's my ambition. Can I figure this out? Can I jump in the podcast space at 54 when there's 6 million podcasts? And can I possibly figure out how to create a show that's meaningful and inspiring and helps people and dominates? That's a cool game to take on. But I can't do that and have peace at home. And so if you have two people that are both outwardly focused in that kind of way, ultimately you'll start resenting one another because you take the eye off the ball of building a foundation and you start competing with each other's ambition. And for me, it was the greatest gift in the world for our kids to have their father, who is amazing, and he's centered and he's a Buddhist. And he is so calming and wise. He's a way better stay-at-home parent than I am, for God's sakes. And then for them to see their mom go out into the world and build something incredible and take responsibility for her own ambition. When I looked backwards at our relationship, I can now see every single argument we had was because I was putting my ambition on him. I was making it his responsibility to go build something big, to make money so I could have the things I get, like, when are we going to have a renovated kitchen? My girlfriend just had it. Like, okay, if that's what you want, Mel, you have a brain. Figure out how to make the money. Like we are so focused on making it somebody else's responsibility to pay for our lives. No, pay for your own life. Take responsibility for the things that you want.
Well, one, you need a very confident partner, especially as a man, a confident male partner to be okay with a really ambitious woman. That's one.
Maybe you need a guy who actually would love to be a stay-at-home dad. Maybe you need somebody who is thrilled to be a teacher or a nurse or an EMT. Maybe you need somebody that really grounds you. And if you're somebody that wants to like take flight, you need the ground to push off of and to come home to. And I think that it is a complete fallacy to assume that all men want to go out and work. I think there are lots of men who would love to be home, who would love to be connected to the community instead of jumping on the train and riding into work. 69% of people in the United States would quit their job today. There are so many ways to live a meaningful life. And there are so many people you can build that life with. If you understand what you value and you understand what you don't value and what your dreams are.
That makes sense. And I do think you are exactly where you're supposed to be. I mean, you are in the right role. So
yes,
that makes sense.
Yes. And, Chris has a beautiful business. He makes a huge difference in the lives of the men who go on his retreats. And he makes a huge difference in the lives of people who he serves as a death doula. And I think we have made a major mistake in modern life in obsessing over celebrity and status and stuff. And here's what I want you to consider. At the end of your life, none of that shit is going to be with you. None of it. What's going to matter to you is who are the people that are standing around you as you're dying. And can you look back on your life and say, I am proud of myself. And I am so proud of myself for using the time that I had to do something that made a difference. I'm proud of myself for being a good parent, a good spouse, a good sister, a good daughter, a good friend. I'm proud that I allowed myself to be myself and to do the things that I dreamt about doing. If you can say that at the end of this amazing thing called life, you have lived an extraordinary life.
I love that. I agree. You're very smart, and I love listening to you speak.
Well, I only know this because all the success you see came late in life. And I almost lost everything. When you almost lose your house, when your marriage almost blows up, when you lose your life savings, when you lose your sanity or your sobriety, like to a certain extent, your health, if you manage to claw your way out of that, which you can, you're capable of doing that over time through your attitude and your actions. Absolutely, you can. Never too late. You're never too young. You are so capable of making your life better. But if you do that, you don't forget what matters. And so despite all the success you see, I am so clear about who I am. I'm so clear about what's important. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm also grateful for the let them theory because of everything that I've ever shared. And I typically just share the things that I've learned the hard way or things that I'm learning that make a difference for me. Of everything that I've ever shared, the let them theory is the single most profound thing I've ever discovered because it has taught me how to let people be who they are and who they're not. And in doing that, it has made every relationship in my life better. including the one I have with myself.
And on that note, where can people find you?
Everywhere.
Perfect.
Right here. This is where you can find me.
What's
you can
your
find
address?
me right here. I'm doing everything I can to get it off the internet.
Okay, so I'm going to share her book. Obviously she has more than one book, but I'm going to share her most recent book. And then also she's going on tour again in March. So I'll share that in my bio and all of her links as well. So make sure you follow her, and hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Bye, guys.